Hello, I'm Sarah Mulkerns, host of Sports World on the BBC World Service. For the very best of previews to the sporting weekend, listen to George Addo Jr. on The Locker Room on Joy 99.7 FM.
Live on radio, live online. This is The Locker Room on Joy 99.7 FM with George Addo Jr.
Club football makes way for international football action in the approaching sporting weekend, but lingering club issues in England have a place on our show this afternoon. Manchester City, Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur all seek an escape route from the current predicament.
Brighton and Hove Albion 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Up against Alderweireld again, going for goal and finding it in superb style. Tottenham can't cope with Brighton's teenage striker.
Of the game remaining, he's in, says Karen Connie. He is in. Adama Traore, clean through on goal. Fernandinho changes. Traore, I don't believe it. Scores a second. Wolves have won the game. It's 2-0.
Willems a step over and then a cut back. He's on his right foot. He pulls it back. Matty Longstaff scores right-footed on his Premier League debut against Manchester United. What a moment for this 19-year-old from North Shields in front of the Gallagate end. He makes it Newcastle United 1, Manchester United 0.
Pep Guardiola is worried about losing too much gas already in the title race. Manchester United are at a crossroad with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and are wondering what step to take next. And there's an ongoing soul-searching exercise at Spurs to find out why Pochettino or his boys can't find themselves on the pitch. Analysis to come. Manchester United's discussion leads the way, and we ask, will sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer save Manchester United? Also ahead on the show.
Gets the ball in again. Got the pass Mills. Ghana with the advantage. And it's in. It is in here for Sheffield Mumuni. And the Ghanaian team in front here. Ghana looking for the second. Oh, yes. That is the story. And Nabila picks it up for the Ghanaians again. Another ball into the box. And who comes in? Yeah. Oh, what a hat-trick. This man is the first player to get a hat-trick in the tournament.
We're in Senegal as the Black Stars B attempt defending the 2017 WAFU title in the final of this year's edition against host Senegal. Coach Maxwell Konedu and his boys will seek the form that saw them beat Nigeria 4-1 in Cape Coast 2 years ago. But how difficult will this be? Analysis ahead. Also coming up, Formula One.
And it's lights out and away we go. They were held for quite a long time and Sebastian Vettel got a really good start. He's already wheel to wheel and past Lewis Hamilton. And here comes Carlos Sainz as well. Leclerc leads, Sebastian Vettel pulls over to the right hand side. The McLaren's getting interested. The Mercedes are dropping back and Sebastian Vettel takes the lead into the first corner. It's turned out to be a 1-2 finish for the Silver Arrows, who keep up their golden touch in Russia. Lewis Hamilton wins the Russia Grand Prix. Valtteri Bottas holds off Charles Leclerc to take second.
Formula One heads to Suzuka, where Ferrari D driver Harmony Lewis Hamilton can edge towards a Sid World title. And the fans are very fanatical about everything in Japan. Teammate Valtteri Bottas is still within reach to mathematically stop Hamilton claiming the championship. But is there any stopping Hamilton being crowned champion for the third year in a row? There's more ahead on this. If you'd like to send us a message on any of our topics of the day, we'd like to read them on our social media accounts, Joy/99.7 on Facebook, 0244340437 on WhatsApp and Telegram, or tweeted us at JoySportsGH. We'll stay on the continent to preview the qualifiers for the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations, in Europe for the big picks in the 2020 Euro qualifying games, and in China for updates in the ongoing Shanghai Masters. Time to talk about what the world is talking about in the world of sport. Hello from me, George Addo Jr., and welcome to Preview Friday.
Live on radio, live online, this is The Locker Room with George Addo Jr.
And a great good afternoon to you, Manchester United fans. It's a wonderful one for you. We've got a question up there. Do you think sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, your coach, would change anything about your club? That's the little debate to come later on the show. Remember, you can send us your messages on this line, 0244340437. That's for WhatsApp and also Telegram. Remember, you can send us your messages on our Facebook page. I'll be reading that. We've got lots of messages coming through, but it's a wonderful weekend to look forward to, and there's no better place to start.
Live on radio, live online, this is The Locker Room with George Addo Jr.
This is Stretch it out for the Ghanaians again. Another ball into the box, and who comes in? Yeah! Oh, what a hat trick! This man is the first player to get a hat trick in the tournament. What a start! What a game! And the Ghanaians are 3 goals to be good.
So we start with football on the show, and let's stay on the continent with Ghana's Black Stars be in pole position to defend the WAFU title as they face Senegal in the final of the weekend. Coach Max Okonedu's boys were 3-1 winners over Ivory Coast, and Senegal beat Mali in the semi-final to set up a titanic clash. So then let's reflect on what we have seen in the past few days in the sub-region. And joining me on the line is African football expert Nuhu Adams. Thank you very much, Nuhu, for your time. We'll talk about the Ghana-Senegal final shortly, but can we deal with the competitiveness of this edition compared to what we saw in Ghana 2 years ago?
Thank you, George, for another time on Locker Room. Looking at the competitiveness of the 2019 WAFU Cup, I think no much difference from what we saw in Ghana 2 years ago. But it seems the players are taking this tournament at the highest level because they believe this is an opportunity for them to sell their talent to scouts which are coming from outside Africa. Because let me use Ghana as an example. After the WAFU Cup in 2017, Samuel Safo, Steven Safo, Isaac Chum, Emmanuel Lomote, Kwame Kizito, Wilfo Kobna all had opportunities of getting contract outside Ghana and Africa, and that is giving the players something to believe that if you do well in the WAFU Cup, that might be a chance for you to get to be playing in Europe or elsewhere.
So the Black Stars B are bidding to defend the title against Senegal. How can this happen given the quality of the Senegalese?
Well, going into the tournament, Ghana were favorites because we are the defending champions, and most people were expecting us to get this far. We've been improving game after game. The game against Gambia, yes, we had a 1-0 win, but we weren't that convincing. But in the next game, there was improvement, even though we couldn't create many chances in that game against Burkina Faso. But having come from behind to sail through on penalties, I think it was an improvement. Against Ivory Coast, yes, the team had an improvement once again because Shafiu Mumuni getting all the 3 goals also made a statement that he's one of the finest strikers you can get in West Africa at the moment, because in the CAF Confederation Cup, after 4 matches, he scored 4 goals for Ashanti Gold, and so far in the tournament too, he's having 4 goals in 3 matches. And I think having such a player in the team, Ghana can believe that we can go all out against Senegal to win it. But Senegal are having a very good team. They are having most of the players coming from Generation 4, AS Bikini, ASC Diaraf and the likes. They'll have home support and that home advantage. So it is not going to be easy, and it is not going to be like all the other games Ghana have played.
Well, Nuhu, let's start on the CAF Champions League group stage draw after the pairings were released 2 days ago. And which group then will you tag the group of death?
Yeah, George, this year's CAF Champions League looks like it's going to be one of the best in the history of the competition. Looking at the kind of teams we are having in the group stages, all groups look very, very exciting, very, very entertaining. If you look at Group A, if you have a team like TP Mazembe in there, you have Zamalek or Generation Foot, one of them will join, and it's likely Zamalek is going to join Primeiro de Augusto and Zesco United. This is a group that is going to be very, very tough for each of the teams there. If you look at Group B, another exciting group, we have Etoile Sportive du Sahel, Al Hilal from Sudan, then Al Ali, the 8 times champions. Then we have FC Platinum from Zimbabwe. Platinum looks like they are going to be the outsiders. But if you look at Hilal, Etoile Sportive du Sahel, and Al Ali, it's going to be mouth-watering games between them. The last time Al Ali went to Sudan or Omdurman to play Al Hilal, it was a 3-0 thrashing to them. Hilal beat them 3-0 in 2007. And Etoile Sportive du Sahel to last season had the opportunity playing Al Hilal in the semi-finals of the CAF Confederation Cup. That group looks very, very dicey. But I think Ali and Etoile du Sahel have the edge ahead of the other two teams, but it's not going to be easy. Group C and D are my group of deaths. The reason is that if you look at Group C as an example, you have Wydad Athletic Club, you have Mamelodi Sundowns, you have USM Alger and Pedro Atletico. Yeah, Pedro Atletico will be the outsiders here because this is their first time in the group stages of the CAF Champions League in 21 years. The last time they were in the group stages was somewhere 2001. So coming back, I don't see them doing much in the group stages. But Mamelodi Sundowns, Wydad, have always been a cracking game because in the last 3 years, they've met 8 times in the CAF Champions League. And for the 4th consecutive season, they are meeting once again in the group stages. The last group, that's Group D, is also a group of death. That's how I describe it. Raja Casablanca of Morocco, Esperance Sportive de Tunis, the defending champions, JS Kabylie from Algeria, then AS Vita Club. Yes, Vita Club have lost touch because after their CAF Confederation Cup finals 2 seasons ago, they've lost most of their key players, and that is why Vita Club are not all that strong like they were 2 years or 2 seasons ago. But Esperance Raja is always going to be difficult to predict which team is going to win.
Final word, Nuhu, for the Confederations Cup playoff round. And we know Kumasi Asante Kotoko are up against Ivorian side San Pedro. Which, though, are the other top 3 fixtures aside this?
Looking at the other fixtures in the Confederation Cup, that looks very, very tight and tough. I think Young Africans of Tanzania playing against Pyramids FC of Egypt is going to be a cracking game. It's going to be very, very difficult to predict the outcome. Enugu Rangers will be playing against Togolese champions ASC Dakar. That game looked very, very tight and very, very difficult one. Kampala Capital City Authority FC of Uganda playing against Paradu AC of Algeria. Yes, someone will say Paradu are making their debut in the CAF Confederation Cup, but for a team to be able to eliminate CS Sfaxien of Tunisia from the CAF Confederation Cup, you shouldn't dare talk less about Paradu AC. Gor Mahia FC of Kenya playing against Darren Club Motema Pembe. It's been so many years we last saw Motema Pembe play in the group stages of either the CAF Champions League or the CAF Confederation Cup. They have the opportunity now coming up against Gor Mahia. I'm looking at how Gor Mahia got eliminated in the CAF Champions League. They would like to be in the group stages of the CAF Confederation Cup to appease their fans. But apart from that, I think IS Bekan, El Masri, Hassane Agadir are teams which are likely to be in the group stages, looking at the opposition they've gotten in this round.
Thank you very much, Inuhu, for your time.
Live on radio, live online. This is The Locker Room with George Addo Jr.
A lot more football to come. We'll be getting our circuit shortly, but remember that I'll be activating the phone lines today, and it's good to really hear from all of you on the show. Manchester United fans will activate the phone lines, and you get to tell me what you think, whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, leaving the club will make a big difference. And yes, it's not that I don't know. The club has indicated they want to support Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But the question for you then is that the right move, really? Look at all the messages that have come through already. Quite a number of them, and I expected this to be happening. You would also have to save the number 0302 216 541, and you get opportunity to call into the show. But what have the Manchester United fans been saying already? Okay, let's check this out. Let's check this out right now. I've got some interesting messages. That is coming in from Lars Crystal Bannerman. We're tired of all the stuff and the players. 2. Woodward out. So you want everybody out of the club. That's what you're talking about. That's absolutely impossible. Now, Angelo Odroeje says nothing will change unless we offload 99% of our players. They are nothing but a liability to the club. It will be in the best interest of our owners to sell the club and give us our share. Wow, that's an interesting one. Now, Enes Otremafo says, welcome back to the show. Thank you very much. That's Enes, thank you. And you think you made a mistake by signing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I mean, because when he was interim coach, he performed well. As soon as he signed a new contract, he definitely failed to get into it. So more of your messages coming up, and we're getting into the circuit right now to pick it up for you in terms of what to expect of the Japan Grand Prix. Very, very good stuff. I've been having a chat with my colleague Raymond Yamado.
Live on radio, live online. This is The Locker Room with George Addo Jr.
And it's lights out and away we go. They were held for quite a long time, and Sebastian Vettel got a really good start. He's already wheel to wheel and past Lewis Hamilton, and here comes Carlos Sainz as well. Leclerc leads, Sebastian Vettel pulls over to the right hand side. The McLaren's getting interested, the Mercedes are dropping back, and Sebastian Vettel takes the lead into the first corner. Then comes Charles Leclerc, after them Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz going wide. It's turned out to be a 1-2 finish for the Silver Arrows, who keep up their golden touch in Russia. Lewis Hamilton wins the Russia Grand Prix. Valtteri Bottas holds off Charles Leclerc to take second. And for the first time in a long while, Toto Wolff smiles at the end of a Grand Prix and probably breathes a huge sigh of relief as well.
So Formula One next on The Locker Room, and the 5-time world champion Lewis Hamilton edging closer to his SIT title with a gifted victory at the Russian Grand Prix after a virtual safety car cost Ferrari Charles Leclerc the lead. Sochi was Hamilton's first win in 4 races and Mercedes' first 1-2 finish since the British Grand Prix in July. Teammate Valtteri Bottas is still within reach to mathematically stop Hamilton claiming the championship. Although another big result for the Briton in Japan could see him crowned the champion in Mexico for the 3rd year in a row. The Constructors' Championship, on the other hand, can be wrapped up at the weekend's Japanese Grand Prix. If Hamilton and Bottas claim another 1-2 for Mercedes at Suzuka, they too will secure the SIT World title and equal Ferrari's best run in the process. So let's get a bit of analysis getting into the weekend. And joining me on the line is Formula One reporter Raymond Yamado. Thank you very much, Raymond, for your time. And let's begin with Ferrari. Because when it seemed things were working again, with back-to-back victories, the issue of team orders has come up again, especially after Vettel ignored them in the last race. Is Ferrari complicating life in Formula One with team orders, or this confirms the eternal fight ongoing between Leclerc and Vettel?
Well, George, if you follow the build-up to this weekend's competition, Sebastian Vettel has been speaking about the fact that, his team order defiance was in the wrong. He has admitted that he was wrong to have defied the team orders. But that notwithstanding, we can still look at the competition in that camp, and it reminds us of the competition between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg in 2016. It ended up in something we wouldn't want to talk about. It was quite feisty between both drivers. But according to Sebastian Vettel, Mattia Binotto had a meeting with them at Maranello, and so everything seems to have been sorted. But there's a lot of competition in there. You look at Sebastian Vettel this season, he's only won 1 race. He's actually finished on the podium 7 times. And you look at Charles Leclerc, he's won 2 races in Monza and in Spa, and even in Singapore, it was a race that he could have won. There was a lot of talk about the fact that the better driver did not win, and he's actually finished 9 times on the podium. It clearly tells you that this is a driver who has come of age, and for the young man who is supposed to be a wingman for Sebastian Vettel to be dominating races and winning races, I think that a lot of pressure was on Sebastian Vettel, and the Russian Grand Prix was one that he thought he could have won. And so let's not be too hard on him. It just speaks to the competition in that Ferrari team. But once everything has been sorted out, I think that this weekend we can expect a good run from the Ferrari drivers. But we can still see Leclerc showing a lot of promise, showing a lot of dominance. I think that Ferrari have to set the order straight. They have to set the record straight. Who is the main man for Ferrari this season? Is it going to be Sebastian Vettel, and is Charles Leclerc supposed to be his wingman, or they'll actually reverse it because of the form of Charles Leclerc? So these are things that Ferrari have to sort out. But once they're able to sort these things out, I think that we will not see the recurrence of the defiance of team orders.
Well, Raymond, Hamilton may feel Ferrari have the upper hand going into the final 5 races, but the Mercedes man can draw level with Michael Schumacher on race wins at Suzuka if he takes victory this weekend. The 7-time world champion Schumacher recorded 6 victories at the circuit, with Hamilton celebrating his feat in last year's Japanese Grand Prix. What more can we see here?
Well, George, this is quite interesting because Lewis Hamilton definitely has to match that Schumacher record. He will be eyeing that. He will be expecting that he would also make it 6 wins at the Suzuka, and so it's one record he'll be looking forward to in this one. And we saw his form in Russia. That was vintage Lewis Hamilton, and you can expect that kind of performance from him when we go to Japan. But a lot is to be expected. 73 points clear of Valtteri Bottas, 107 points clear of Charles Leclerc, and 110 points clear of Sebastian Vettel. Definitely you can expect that since the competition is not coming, the point tally is not getting less for the point difference is not getting less for his competitors. I think that you can just expect him to wrap this title up, but I still think that mathematically he has a chance of ending this in Japan. But realistically, I think that Mexico will be the perfect place where Lewis Hamilton finally wraps up the title. There's still going to be a lot of competition from some of the other drivers in the Japanese Grand Prix, because we are going to see Charles Leclerc put in a fight. We are going to see Sebastian Vettel himself, who has won on 4 different occasions at the Suzuka when he was a Red Bull driver. He still has the experience. He still knows how to maneuver on that circuit. So he's still one to watch. And there's still Max Verstappen, who is not forgotten also. And definitely because of the high drag expected on the circuit because of the reported typhoon, you can expect that a lot of traction, a lot of braking, and a lot of high power will be required on the circuit this weekend. And so it's looking very much like Lewis Hamilton can wrap this up, but he's still going to face stiff competition from some of the other drivers.
Now, how catastrophic can it get then for the sport, knowing that the qualifying could be affected by the powerful typhoon that's due to hit Japan on Saturday after it changed its course? Remember, Typhoon Hagibis is now expected to hit further north on the island of Honshu.
Super Typhoon Hagibis is definitely going to cause problems this weekend because it caused chaos in the final round of pool games at the Rugby World Cup, and a lot is being planned for this weekend's round of games in the Rugby World Cup. And so definitely it's going to affect the Formula 1 as well, because Formula 1, the FIA, the Suzuka Circuit, and the Japanese Automobile Federation are monitoring this typhoon closely, because the safety of the fans and the competitors are very important for them. And so it's most likely that practice 3 and qualifying might be hit by the typhoon, might be affected, and so we might see a change in timetable. So it's highly possible we might just see the race actually coming on Sunday, the same day as the qualifying is being held. And so just like in 2004 and 2010 when the qualifiers were held on Sunday, we might just see a repeat of that because of the issues of the typhoon. And let's not forget also that on race day, definitely the wind is going to be at 140 kilometers per hour, and that could cause some high drag on the circuit. And so we know Ferrari favor the low drag, and we know Mercedes favor the high drag, as well as Red Bull. And so it promises to be exciting, but I think that typhoon definitely will cause problems, but this should be under wraps.
So let's talk your podium predictions for the Japanese Grand Prix, which will get fans in these parts out of bed early on Sunday.
Podium finishes, that's an interesting one. I'm tipping Lewis Hamilton to actually make the hat trick. He won in 2017, 2018. He would want to make it 3 in a row. And so definitely it's looking like Lewis Hamilton might win this one. And looking at the form that he is in from Sochi, I think that Lewis Hamilton should have this one under wraps. Valtteri Bottas definitely is going to challenge in there because he also has experience on the Suzuka. And also, let's not forget, Charles Leclerc has been in fine form this season. I'm not writing off Valtteri Bottas, but I just think that we are going to see this race being split among the drivers. We might just see Lewis Hamilton win this one. We might see Valtteri Bottas. I'm tipping Valtteri Bottas to actually finish second in this one. I believe Valtteri Bottas will come in third. So we are seeing a 1 for Mercedes, 2 for Ferrari, and a 3 for Mercedes.
Thank you very much, Raymond, for your time. Definitely more coming up, and we're looking forward to the Japanese Grand Prix. At least now we know that the qualifying will take place at dawn, right before the race itself in Suzuka, and we'll be keeping tabs on all of that. But remember that I'll be activating the phone lines pretty shortly to give you the opportunity for Manchester United fans to tell me whether you think Sakino Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is really the panacea to all the problems that you are having right now. Some of the messages coming in. Krobia Asante says that the problem is first the quality of players available to him. I think the quality of players is just absolutely low. Ni Mensa says, I don't think sacking will bring any changes to the club now. He needs time to prove his worth in management. Now the overhauling should rather touch the others than he's talking about Ed Woodward. So some of you don't want to see Ed Woodward right in the club now. Kamanya Godwin says, I think he has lost touch with the players. If he's sacked, I foresee disaster. Liverpool, we better consider our age. Now this coming in from Huzaifa, monitoring from Tamale, says that Ole should be sacked before we Liverpool send them to relegation next week. Now I've got some messages coming in. It says that according to the Daily Mail, Manchester United have earmarked RB Leipzig head coach Nagelsmann, of course, as their next coach. Good choice for the Red Devils. That's a question you're posing back to me. Manchester United's 2 games against Newcastle and Liverpool are going to be huge. Newcastle have been poor. United have performed well and must win with no excuses. If they fail to do that and lose to Liverpool, it will cause huge problems for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Some more of your comments coming in on WhatsApp. Let me see. Someone says, George, why are you trying to blow things out of context? I don't know if I'm doing that yet. I said the team has come out to say they're building the club for the next 2 years. So why the rush to sack him? Chief, relax for us. That's a Manchester United fan who is absolutely concerned about what he's seeing. Let's now head for the Joy Sports BBC 2-way series. I've been on with the BBC's John Bennett, and I'm sure you enjoy every bit of it. We come back and there's more here. Thanks, John, for your time. And this weekend is loaded with international action, but there are too many lingering issues from the last match day, at least in the English Premier League. So let's begin with the champions, Manchester City, who seem to be bleeding profusely over the injury of Aymeric Laporte. Are City paying for not replacing Vincent Kompany?
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, at the start of the season, my prediction was that Manchester City would win the Premier League title because they have a better squad than Liverpool. You put their first 11s together, then Manchester City and Liverpool are very, very even. But you put their squads together and Manchester City have a better squad. But it shows you just losing one player has had a massive impact on what is a world-class squad. And I think losing Kevin De Bruyne for certain games as well has had a big impact. So it just shows you that one injury can make a difference. I mean, the question is, if Liverpool pick up a couple of injuries, will that cause problems? If they lost Van Dijk, for example, I think they would have serious issues. If they lost Sadio Mane or Mohamed Salah, they would have big problems. So that's when things might be levelled up. I don't think it's over yet. I don't think Liverpool will run away with it despite their points gap at the moment. I don't think we can write Man City off. But I've been really shocked by how losing one player has made such a big impact. And I think you're right. I think they may have paid the price for not replacing Vincent Kompany, who is a massive figure on the pitch, but also off the pitch. I think he was a real leader in that dressing room.
So it's advantage Liverpool with an 8-point lead at the summit of the league table. Considering last season's campaign where both contenders hardly dropped points, there's a temptation for some Liverpool fans to start believing again. What's your caution at this stage of the campaign, though?
Yeah, it's those injuries, isn't it? It's the potential of injuries, but also, and we've talked about this before, George, when we met at the Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt a few months ago, we talked about the possibility that certain players will get tired in February, in March and April. And one of those players is Sadio Mane, because, of course, he went right to the end of the Cup of Nations with Senegal. He got to the final. Another of those players is Roberto Firmino, who got all the way to the final of the Copa America. Even though Mohamed Salah didn't get to the Cup of Nations final, he played in the tournament, didn't he, for Egypt. There was a lot of pressure on him. I think it would have really taken a lot out of him, that defeat in the last 16 to South Africa. And all of those players that I've mentioned as well, they played in the World Cup in 2018, so they've hardly had any rest. And I think that may impact on Liverpool when we get to next year, when we get to the final months of the season. So the caution I would say for Liverpool fans would be if any of the key players get injured for a long time, and also that tiredness factor as well when we get into the final few weeks of the season.
Manchester United are not getting any better. Manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is rightfully receiving the flack. The players, or his players, have looked completely out of shape, and the board are maybe in two minds on what next step to take. Which one move is much needed to save Manchester United, in your opinion?
They need big changes behind the scenes. I think it's all about what happens behind the scenes. Arsenal fans, for example, I think should be a lot more optimistic than they are at the moment, because the club seems to be making changes behind the scenes with sporting directors, with academy managers. I just don't see that at Manchester United. They seem to be sticking with the same system, which hasn't brought them success since Sir Alex Ferguson left. Whether you point the finger at the vice chairman, Ed Woodward, is up to you. There are lots of people who will. But I think he needs to appoint a director of football or a technical director to take some of the pressure off him and to take some pressure off the head coach as well. I can't believe that they're not doing this. I can't believe that they haven't done it yet. It's a really tough situation for Manchester United. I think the problems are deep-rooted. It's not just about what is happening on the pitch. It's about what is happening off the pitch. When it comes to on the pitch, will they stick by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Will they give him time? I think they have to. They've made a call to put him in charge. I wouldn't have appointed him if I was them, but they've put him in charge now, and I think they have to stick by him, even if things get worse. And to be honest, I do think they will get worse, particularly when they play Liverpool after the international break.
Well, the Manchester clubs clearly saved Mauricio Pochettino and Spurs from claiming the headlines after the poor display at Brighton. Well, Spurs have Hugo Lloris injured, which is a massive blow, and the UEFA Champions League finalists can't simply find the rhythm. Is it time for Pochettino to take a bow?
It's difficult to know from the outside because we don't know what's happening inside the camp. But when you look at things from the outside, he does feel as though Mauricio Pochettino has lost his spark, and the squad has lost its spark as well. There are too many players in that team who seem to be in the comfort zone. They've been there a long time. They've been listening to the same manager for a long time, and perhaps things need to be refreshed. Sometimes that can happen in transfer windows. Players leave, new players come in. At Tottenham, we haven't seen that, have we? They don't spend a lot of money. We saw for 2 transfer windows, they didn't spend. Yes, in this transfer window, they brought in Lo Celso, who's been injured. They brought in Ndombele, but that's not been enough to refresh things. And there are unhappy players, it seems, in that squad. The likes of Christian Eriksen, who wanted to leave. Jan Vertonghen, who it seems was thinking about moving. Danny Rose as well, who's been thinking about moving for a long time. You got players massively out of form like Dele Alli. Perhaps it needs someone to refresh things, but they would be mad to sack Mauricio Pochettino because he is one of the most in-demand head coaches in European football. Perhaps it will be the case that at the end of the season they take a mutual agreement to part ways, because Mauricio Pochettino has done a great job for that team and maybe needs to move on to find another challenge. I'm really disappointed because I thought Tottenham might kick on this season and go to another level after getting to the Champions League final, but the total opposite has been true.
Let's end with international action to come then, and of course the Euro 2020 qualifying games to come. Which storylines are you keeping tabs on?
Friday night, I think, is one of my favourite teams in action. Iceland. I love watching Iceland. They caught the imagination, didn't they, at the last Euros? And they caught the imagination at the World Cup as well, qualifying for 2 major tournaments in a row. They've got fantastic fans. They're taking on France. This is a crucial game because France and Turkey are top of the group, level on points. Iceland are third, 3 points behind, and only the top 2 will qualify for the Euros. So that's a huge game for Iceland. Over the weekend, on Saturday, there are some of the big guns of European football in action. Italy looking to continue their great form under Roberto Mancini when they take on Greece in Rome. They've got a 100% record. Spain have also got a 100% record as well in Group F. After 6 games, they take on Norway in Oslo. Disappointingly, no Erling Haaland for Norway. He's out injured, but Sergio Ramos can become Spain's outright most capped player of all time if he plays. And then a big game for English Premier League fans as well, because several Premier League players are involved in a crucial game in Group D. It's Denmark against Switzerland. The likes of Christian Eriksen, Granit Xhaka will be involved. Denmark is second in that group on 9 points. Switzerland are third on 8 points. So for both of those teams, they can't afford to drop points with Ireland at the moment, the group leaders. So some really interesting games to keep an eye on, George.
Well, the BBC's John Bennett there, and good stuff to look forward to then. Great friendlies. And I'm sure one or two of you asking the question, why didn't Ghana play a friendly? You probably have to ask the Ghana Football Association Normalization Committee. So far as I'm concerned, The head coach is out scouting players in Europe. Well, that's fine. Make of it what you will. But let's talk about the games to come then. Joy Sports Moses Yeboah has been putting this together. Enjoy this.
Sao Tome and Principe took a giant step towards the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations group stage qualifiers after beating fellow Mauritius 3-1 in the first leg clash on Wednesday. The return leg is scheduled to be played on Sunday. The aggregate winner will be in Group C of qualifying for the 2021 Nations Cup alongside Ghana, South Africa and Sudan. Seychelles will be hoping to turn the tables and qualify for the group phase of the qualifiers in their clash at home with South Sudan, with the first leg ending 2-1 in favor of the East African side. The winner will join Burkina Faso, Uganda, Malawi in Group B of the qualifiers. Gambia will host Djibouti after a 1-1 draw in the first leg, and Chad take on Liberia on Sunday. In the Euro 2020 qualifiers, England travel to the Czech Republic this week, hoping to maintain their perfect start to their qualification campaign at their host expense in Group A. Portugal take on Luxembourg at home and Ukraine away. After drawing their opening two qualifiers, the reigning European champions recorded back-to-back victories and will be looking to keep their winning run alive. France are fighting for their place at Euro 2020 as they chase 3 points in their visit to Iceland. The world champions are aiming to follow up a run of 5 wins in 6 games, which has put them inside the top 2 in the chase for a spot at the next major tournament. Elsewhere in Group I, Belgium travel to Kazakhstan. Cyprus hosts Russia, who are on the verge of qualifying for the Euros. Group J runaway leaders Italy will be out to make it 7 qualification wins from 7 when they host an out-of-form Greece outfit in Rome. To some selected international friendlies, Uruguay will be hoping to get revenge on the team that knocked them out of this summer's Copa America when they host Peru at Estadio Centenario. Colombia and Chile will both be eager to make a return to winning ways this weekend, but recent encounters between these two countries have often proved tight and tense, and more often than not ending a stalemate. And 2 African giants will go head-to-head on Saturday when Tunisia face Cameroon.
Moses Yeboah with a wrap then. We look forward to the games this weekend. Now, it's just about time to talk about the Manchester United stuff right now. Talk about your team. I'm handing over the airwaves to you for the next 7 minutes. For Manchester United fans. Now, all you need to do is grab your phone, call me on this number, 0302216541. Let's talk about the future for your club. So, big question, changes or no changes?
Come on. I see no changes.
Now to Mix to finish it! And he finishes it brilliantly! And Manchester United was simply cut apart!
Probably the worst times, the most difficult time since I've been here. Why tougher than before? I don't know. This is why, because I don't know why.
Daha comes forward, it breaks the Van Aanholt, who drills it in low! And Van Aanholt has provided a sting in the tail! Surely it'll be their first league win at Old Trafford now in 30 years!
2 wins in their last 13 Premier League games.
This United team is the worst team I can remember for a number of years, because that team at the minute is awful.
Matty Longstaff scores right-footed on his Premier League debut against Manchester United. He makes it Newcastle United 1, Manchester United 0.
I was sacked, probably deservedly sacked, but the sad reality is that they are worse than before.
United have to settle for a point in the end. It's been a barnstorming game.
And I've got to say sorry to the fans that we're not winning games.
That's just the way it is.
All right, so let's do the talk right now. I've got my first call on the line. Have I? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Kanagwa Jet.
Yeah. What's up? Back from Qatar, so you can have the Emerald trade if you want to.
This is Yari calling from Nkoko.
Okay, Yari, let's hear from you.
Do you know something? The reason why Manchester will still keep on falling down there because of hypocrisy is killing our heart. So-called legend. Since Mourinho was there, you're always hearing those called legends always come and hot. We're surpassing him and do this and do this and do this. Up to we're going to shake me. Having heard from all those called legends. So I want to ask, in terms of what Patrick Evra or those kind of Robbie Keane, are they not legends? Because they are not playing for England, so they don't call them legends. And you are telling me that whole team like Manchester, you allow Rashford and what? Martial should lead that front. It's never happened. It sounds like what? You are using what? Infinite phone and someone brought you iPhone and giving you another balance. You say you are not going to take it. How come? It doesn't sound well. So my best option, if let's say they want Man United to become United we used to know, they need to go outward and purchase a quality players, not in terms of what Greenwood and what James Destin. It can never help Man U, so we still keep on falling because England player, the one who is contesting a wet best, something like a Biden player who is what Weeding and what sugarcane farm. So that's what my opinion is. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you very much. I've got some more callers on the line, have I? Manchester United fans. Good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, George, welcome from Doha.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's good. It's good to be back and to hear from all of you again. What do you think?
Yeah, George, I believe the Man U supporters will be a bit patient with Ole. Okay, they should give him time. I know he will definitely come good. Okay, so please, they should not sack him for now. I'm begging them. Thank you very much, George. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for your call. Let's do more. Okay, I got another one. Manchester United fan. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, George.
Yeah, I like the energy. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Let's talk about the United.
I like what is happening at United now.
Are you a Chelsea fan or a Liverpool fan?
I'm not Chelsea fan. I'm a Real Madrid fan.
Oh my God.
When Mourinho was there, Mourinho is 100% better than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Man U fans were there, Mourinho is not doing this, Mourinho is not doing that, so they should get new coach. They got the new coach and can look at what he's doing. Now they will learn sense that Mourinho is better. It's good. I always listen to Mourinho on Sky News.
Sorry about that. We can do some more calls. I've got like 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. 0302216541 is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer staying? Let's hear from you. We've got the Manchester United anthem in the background. Adum Simon says, Dubai Boga, you're welcome back to the hot economic country. Oh, thank you very much. Now, Enoch Dako says that there will be a major change. Savali Kelvin on the page says that no, please, you don't expect anything to change if your man is not there. I've got a message coming in from Sabor in Tamale. And it says, George, he performed well as an interim coach, but I think the rebuilding of this team is absolutely beyond him. More of your messages. Let's see if we can do 2 more calls if we can. Commander Godwin says, I think he has lost touch with the players. It's better we sack him and get him out of the place for the Manchester United fans. I have a call on the line, do I then? Good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
My name is Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, let me hear from you.
Yeah, please. Let's tell the fan who just called right now. Mourinho was not sacked because of performance. He was sacked because of attitude with the players. Okay. Our team is going to be raw, so we are not worried.
All right, you're not worried. Thank you. I can do the final caller just as we wrap up here on the show. Yeah, we can do that. But before that, let me see if I can pick some 2 messages because the messages were flooding in here. Okay. Let's see what we've got this. It's been really interesting with the Manchester United fans going over and over and over and over again on this one. That's all fine. So Lance Crystal Bannerman, okay. He says that we're tired of all the staff. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer must leave. I can just give the final one to my final caller if there is anything like that. Now Achogbu Frank says, no please. I think I've got the final caller and that will wrap it. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, George. I'm back.
Oh, yes.
The guy who just finished talking now.
Yeah.
Let me tell him something. Mourinho.
Sorry about that. Just too bad. We lost you on the line. Hopefully next week I'll give you guys another wonderful opportunity to get in to send us the messages. Manchester United fans, sorry about it, but let's hope things get better. But it's the international break. Good luck to the Black Stars B as they try to win and defend the title they won, the WAFU title they won in 2017. My name is George Adejun as always. Till we meet next week, just be good.